Hey guys, all right, this is Dave Bennett, and I just did the Mass Organic Results Revisited video for organic, so I want to step in and do this AdWords intro my way to help guys with AdWords. Okay, let's just start with this. A lot of you guys are starting to play with AdWords for the fun of it on your own projects just to see what you can do. Okay, so you might start up a campaign like 20 bucks a day, and this is just giving you a wonderful chance to get in and learn kind of how to do this. For those of you who've never set up a Google.com account before, you're doing it now, and you're going into like AdWords.google.com, okay? And you're just setting one up, seeing what you can do. So some people set their clicks like $2 a click or so max, right? Doesn't mean they got to pay $2 a click, but it means if the other guys are bidding in a bidding war and the price gets up to like 18 bucks a click for some of them, you don't want to have any part of that until you know what you're doing anyway and you know it's profitable. So you might just say, hey, I'm going to stop playing at $2 a click. If other guys are paying more, I don't want to roll up with them. So yeah, you can set that. That's great. It's a stop limit up here so that if you hit that ceiling, you don't have to keep rising. Okay, you can just stop cold and wait till the thing to come down, because there is that sort of thing. Now, what I want to do is clarify a few things at once. Like, why do guys who are great at AdWords stair stepping it up? I showed you curve after curve from SpyFu with a sort of stair-stepping growth of AdWords accounts. Why? And there's more. Why does Google always go over the budget? Well, not always, but you set the budget for 20 bucks a day and somehow they go like 23.68. And then the next day like 21.50. And then the next day like 19 or 18.70 or something. And they kind of even out towards that 20 a day, but you're like, gosh, Google, how come you keep missing the mark? Don't you have more control than that? The answer is no, they don't. Let me explain why. This will help so much, and it'll explain to all you guys who are trying to set a budget too low, like 10 bucks a day, why you're probably not getting anything in the way of impressions. This will make so much sense in a second. Okay, couple of quick terms, right? These are ads, you know it because they're marked ad. Very often there are as many as 4 at the top. It is now after hours, and so these guys would not want to keep showing their ads, so they're starting to drop off, or they're going into the cheaper mode, down to the lower end of the page. What's the point I want to make? Click-through rate. Do you think that you have a greater chance of getting clicked on up here or down here? Okay, we all agree. Up here, right? So you want to be one of the guys at the top. Do you really want to be the #1 guy? Probably not, because it's probably the guy paying the most, at least not until you get your situation right. By then, do you have to be paying the most to be #1? No. But you don't want to start off that way. Hence the stair stepping. I'm going to keep pointing that out as we go, and it'll make more sense as we go. Okay, so this top ad, we call that position 1. On AdWords, we call this position 2. If you saw 2 more up here, that'd be position 3 and 4. You don't, they're down below. So 1, 2, and then what? 3, 4, and 5. Okay? So if somebody does a search on a keyword and you appear on the page anywhere, that's called an impression. You made an impression. In other words, your link existed on no screen at all until it did. And there's 2 kinds of impressions here: organics and ads. Okay? And so when you're looking at your impressions and your AdWords impressions, your question is, how many times did I show up in front of somebody's face? Okay? Well, Google's interested in that, because every time you're in AdWords and you're showing up in front of someone's face, Google wants to make money on, they want to make the most money they can on the batch of players, right? So they're trying to get everyone dialed in so that the guy who's in the top position, they're maximizing the income for them and the opportunity for them. The guy who's in the next position now, the next position now. They want all those guys to, have good tendencies for getting clicked on. Okay? Now, here's the thing. This is where it starts to make sense. There are almost 4 billion searches a day on Google right now. Say there are. Simple numbers. Therefore, there's about 45,000 searches every second. Every second. Okay? That means 45,000 devices, right? People all over the place who are staring at their screen, right? So if there was only one keyword on Google, just everyone went to the one keyword and you made the impression every single time, that is 45,000 new people seeing you every single second. Okay, they're seeing your ad every single second. Well, What if out of those 45,000 who came, let's say 10% or 1%, let's say 1% happen to click your link? And we'd have to say something like 10%. Or 8%, because if we're assuming there's only one keyword, then no, people have nowhere else to go. They have to choose from what they see. Okay, so there you go. I mean, that's insane, isn't it? 4,500 clicks you'd be paying for every second, right? Now, let's make this even more fun. Can Google stop showing ads the moment you hit your $20 mark? Well, let's get more honest. There isn't one keyword, is there? So you're making however many impressions, some of your keywords more, some less. Let's say you had 45 impressions a second. Okay, 1 in 1,000 of those 45,000 per second. Let's say you were making 45 impressions every single second. 45 different people walking around are seeing you in a second. Now, here's the thing. Google can't tell how many of those guys in that second are going to click on you. They don't know. And when they show the next 45,000, that doesn't change the page for the first 45,000. When I arrive on this page after doing the search, I might sit here 5 seconds before I click something, right? Because I'm kind of glancing through what people are saying. Some people may take longer. Some people may take less time. Let's assume 5 seconds. Simple number. 45 times 5. 225 people in that 5-second period are all capable of clicking on my ad willy-nilly, and it won't disappear in front of their eyes. Google had to commit to putting my ad in front of 225 people's eyes within that 5-second period in this situation. If we assume I'm making 45 impressions a second, and 225 people could click my ad, chances are they're not gonna. Okay, usually if you get a 2% click-through rate, it's great. Why 2%? Even with just so many on here? Because not everyone clicks anything when they do a search on Google. They tend to tweak their search. They tend to try again. They do another search to get better results. If they don't see what they're looking for, they change the wording. Okay, so those people are gone without clicking anything at all. So you did make an impression, but no one clicked on you. Okay, but if you're dialing in your campaign and you're not giving Google a lot of room, if you're throttling and you're saying, I want really low cost and really low daily bid, Google can't even show you it all hardly, right? That's almost scary. Within that 5 seconds, bam, 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 you're all rung up. Google's afraid now that if 2% of the people click your link out of 225, what is that? 4? People click your link? Well, if you said, I only want to pay $2 per click, max, I'm just going to use it $2, and I get 4 clicks, but I'm only allowing $10 a day, dang, Google almost uses your half the day's budget in just that 5 seconds because people just started clicking those links over that 5-second period, and Google had no idea how many people are going to click it. Okay? Then comes the next 5 seconds, right? So if you throttle down too hard, Google has no chance. Okay? So really, I mean, that's the reality check. If you don't let them go good on bids, then they're scared to show you at all. Okay? They might just show you one impression and then stop for like 2 hours showing your ad. Or, 100 impressions max for like an hour or two and then not show your ad for a while. Right? And then they can dare to show it some more. But this is how it is possible for them to overrun your budget. Because just in those handful of seconds to show your ad enough to maximize income to you, or whatever, maximize your daily budget while maximizing their income. They want to go as close to your budget as possible, but they try not to go over, right? Then there you go. That's the kind of thing that's going on there. Okay, so if you understand that, what do we have now? We have, if you throttle Google too hard, you may get no results at all. And then if you open it up a bit, you might get a sudden jump and it might startle you, right? Now, here's the next part to that. A lot of people make this mistake. They go, how come my clicks get ramped up and really, really fast? They're kind of expensive. A lot of people go, I thought that we get low cost per clicks, with these pages. And the answer is they do. But whenever you put up a brand new campaign with an ad group that's got a bunch of keywords attached to it and ad attached to it, that's how this works. This ad, the guy who created it said this particular ad is allowed to show up for certain keywords in that list that belong to that ad group. Okay, so there are a bunch of keywords, 510, there could be 400, there could be 4,000, but hopefully like 5 or 10, just a handful of tightly controlled keywords for this particular ad. Okay, and then the ad gets to show. And then hopefully he's got his budget high enough that Google can allow a bunch of impressions and allow him to show up higher, right? Now, before I get carried away, I got to make sure to start going through these pieces. The first one is this. Click-through rate. Okay, is it 2% or not? Is it low? Is it high? Okay, well, if your average position is like 6, when you look, you say, okay, 1,000 impressions, average position is 6, or 5.5 or whatever. I'm not getting any click-throughs on my ad. Well, that means Google wasted their opportunity showing you on that page. And so you need to be paying higher for Google to say, okay, you're twisting my arm. I'll put you in that spot and hope someone clicks on you so I can collect that much extra money. Do you get it? But the fact of the matter is click-through rate affects quality score. And when you first start an ad group out, what is the click-through rate? 0. The moment the impressions start piling up, you go from 0 impressions to 1,000 impressions, 0 clicks, 1,000 impressions, 0 clicks, maybe 1. Then Google's saying, wow, you got a low click-through rate. So they have to charge you more because somebody else will get a higher click-through rate. That means that Google's not wasting their time showing that guy. That guy's drawing an income for Google. Okay. And then you think, well, why is my click-through rate so low? Could be anything. Could be the way you worded your ad. But the first thing to look at is your average position. If it's like 5 or 6, that's why. You're making 1,000 impressions. You're on the page 1,000 times. But if you're at the bottom of the page, no one sees you down there. Okay, so if you're so cheap per bid that you're not earning a top position 1, 2, 3, or 4. Okay, then of course you're going to have a low click-through rate, and of course you're going to become a liability for Google for that spot on the page. So of course they're going to have to charge you more for you to keep playing ball because you're wasting their time. There's other people who want to be there, right? Who are willing to pay. So. And Google would rather try them and see if they're getting clicks, a better click-through rate. So the first thing you have to do is swallow the bullet and understand that you need to bid high enough to be in one of the top positions. Do you really want to be in position 1? Probably not. Not at first, because those are the guys being the highest, right? But what would be good? Probably 2, 3, or 4, right? Typically, because usually there's going to be 2 to 4 ads at the top. There will almost never be 5 or more, because we're going to alienate the organic listers. Okay, and Google doesn't want to do that. They make their money because people want to play organically, and that's the whole sideshow that allows Google to put ads above them. Why above them? Because that's what people see first. Okay, and then the guys at the bottom, that's because Google wants to make it possible to earn on them for the guys who skim to the bottom, but they just can't put all those guys at the top, or no organic results are going to be above the fold. And that's going to alienate organic users. They're all going to say, Google, wow, you want people paying for ads just to be seen on the front page? I'm getting no clicks, right? There you go. So they split. Sometimes there's 2 ads, 3 ads, or 4 ads, but it jumps up and down all day long. And organics have to have a say, on the page. There you go. But here, we're back to this. What is like a sweet spot? Probably position 2.8 to 3.5. Is probably the lowest cost for the best click-through rate. Once you're there, look at your wording, make sure it makes sense. Once you have that done, look back at your keywords and make sure that they work, all right? By the way, if you've got like a position 2.8 or a 3.5, what does that even mean? Some of you guys are actually sitting there going, I don't get it. That's got to be position 1 and 2. So what in the world could 1.5 mean? If you don't know, it's this simple. If we do 1,000 impressions, half the time you're in the top spot and half the time you're in the next, then your average position is that and that divided by 2, so in the middle. Okay? Half the time 1, half the time 2, then average position is 1.5. If you show up more often towards 2, then it's more like 1.8, right? If you show up more often in position 1, it would be more like 1.2, 1.1, right? So, sweet spot is somewhere between 2 and 4, but mostly hovering around 3. So like 2.8 to 3.5. Okay? That's pretty much a sweet spot. And again, what do? Look at your click-through rate. So here's how it goes. You have to pay more to get your average position up so that your click-through rate goes up, which allows your quality score to go up, which allows you to pay less. So it's a bell curve. You will pay more up front just to get over the hump of the bell curve to come back down. Now, what happens if your ad group had 5 related keywords? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Each one gets 1,000 impressions a day. You know, just dumb numbers. Each one gets a 2% click-through rate. Then your average click-through rate for the whole ad group, the ad connected to those 5 related, similar sounding keywords, sell my house fast, sell my home fast, sell my house today, sell my house now, sell my home today, sell my home now. They're all different keywords. Buy my house today, buy my home now, okay? They may or may not feel like different emotional triggers for the viewer. You have to make those decisions, and sometimes it's just research because you don't know, right? But the fact of the matter is, let's say we had 5, and let's say they were all performing great in our group, okay? Now, let's say we thought, wow, man, I'm getting great results on this thing. Great keyword scheme. I got over the bell curve, and my average click-through rate has gone up to 2%, and my quality score has shot up, and so my cost has dropped back down. Now I'm paying a lot less to stay in the same position. I love it, I love it, I love it. And Google loves it. Google wants to reward you to consistently stay because they can't make you. You can stop it or pause it or delete it at any time. So if you are predictably quality, if your ad is getting a predictable number of clicks and Google's seeing that, Google will charge you less. Very happily charge you less. If people are landing on your page and they're not peeved off by it, they're reading it, they're interacting with it, they click the button, we got analytics on the page so we can tell and Google can tell what's going on, then guess what? Google's happy leaving you staying there, okay? And they will lower the cost, right? For that keyword. The keywords where it works. Now, let's say you added 5 more keywords. You did the research and you said, wow, these 5 are similar to these 5. I'm going to throw them in. Well, guess what? So far, these have got no impressions, no click-throughs. But now that you told Google all 10 are equally game, you just changed everything. Now, guys who are walking down the street and pulling out different devices or on their laptops or desktops, all of a sudden you said, I want to show up for twice as many of these keywords that they're searching for. Okay, so you just went up from 225 impressions a second to 500 or 450 impressions a second, or who knows what, 500 impressions a second. Some of those keywords might have more volume, okay? And what happened? Again, the question comes down to, are you getting 2% click-through rate or 1% or 3% or 0.5%? Chances are you're getting more impressions first without the clicks, right? You start building up those impressions without the clicks. So now your ad group is getting double the impressions with the same number of clicks for a little while, right? And if that happens, your quality score goes down. Your costs go back up. Get it? Because you were telling Google, hey man, make money on my ad showing for any of these keywords here. And Google's like, are you sure your ad will get clicked on for all those different keywords? You're like, yeah, sure. Google's like, well, we're going to invest our time and effort and invest the slots here on those impressions on you. Let's see if we make money with you on all these keywords. So if your ads just don't work on some of those keywords, if you go back in your ad group and you've got a bunch of keywords in there, like 400, and 390 of them are getting no clicks, they are destroying your click-through rate for that group. And you probably see it. You probably see you have a lousy click-through rate for the whole ad group because these things are tracked so you can read the numbers. And so you probably have a lousy quality score for the ad group. And that's why you're paying too much. So how do you think this works? Stair stepping. Throw in some keywords. Pay high to pay low. Throw in a few more. Pay higher, pay lower. If some of those keywords aren't working, you're hovering too high, drop them again so that the costs come back down. Now you're operating in a new level with a higher volume. Things are working better. You can raise your daily budgets and stuff. You like the results. You sprinkle in some more keywords. Again, higher costs. And then if it hovers too long, kill some of those keywords that aren't working and the costs come back down because your click-through rate improves for the whole group. The stair stepping is a necessary evil because you will always have to go over the bell curve every time you add new keywords, because you will always start off with 0 impressions and 0 clicks, and you have to have impressions before the clicks come in. And if you don't have any experience with that group of keywords versus how it's hitting them with the ads, you can mess that up. Okay? Another point I want to make about that with keywords. A lot of people mix this up. I just want to point this out, and then I'm going to be kind of done with this. I can still do more, but I just want to make this point. By the way, you know what negative keywords are? That's when you add words that people are actually they're typing and your page is coming up, and Google wouldn't know better, but it has nothing to do with what you're doing. I'm gonna show you this right now, and you'll get it. Here's how important it is to study your keywords. Check this out. 2 cases. Cataract, eye drops. That's for when guys have cataracts in their eye. It's forming like a rust underneath the eye membrane. And you take these eye drops that slowly dissolve the rust over time. Simple. Cataract eye drops. Let's say I'm getting a bunch of hits on this thing. Who knows? 1,000 impressions. Maybe I got a 2% CTR. Therefore, I have a quality score of who knows what. Oops, QS of whatever, 7. And therefore, low costs, you know, for high average position, right? Which could be, who knows, you know, like 1.3, more often in one spot, or who knows, or even, I don't care, 2.3, whatever. So I think, wow, I want to add another keyword. And I'm going to go broad, right? So you go broad. Cataract eye drops. First of all, what does broad mean? Anytime you do a broad search on Google, you're saying to Google, literally, watch this, cataract eye drops. You are literally saying, in the organics, and then for keywords it's similar, you're saying, I want any page that has both of those words on it, period. Any page that has both of those words on it. Get it? And so this page must have that. That page must have that. That page must have that. That page must have that. There must be those words. Okay? Oh, I see. And then there's that other one. All right. Now, here's the point. Whoops. Drops. Okay. 485,000 pages Google found that had both of those words in any order. If I want to make it a phrase search, I want to be a lot more exacting. I'll put double quotes around it. That says those words have to be there with words before them or after them and nothing breaking it up. And exactly that way. Okay. Many fewer results. Not just as a word cataract here on the page and eye drops somewhere else on the page, maybe even the other way around, but the cataract eye drops term has to be right together. Okay, that's another search. By the way, that's a second impression if I showed up on both pages. Then I made 2 impressions now, didn't I? Right? Now, cataract eye drop is a different word than cataract eye drops. It's a different keyword, so I might want to add that to my list. But what happens if I put a space in here and I'm saying cataract eye drop or eye drops? Now, reality check. Google's probably going to show cataract eye drops like so. You know, it's pretty used to the idea that this is what people are doing. But When we ran this campaign about 10 years ago when people didn't know much about it, guess what? Cataract eye drops is pretty clear. I mean, you don't really need negative keywords for that because it's pretty obvious. If somebody's doing a search with those two words together, broad, then yeah, I mean, if the page is going to have those, it's got to be cataract eye drops. What else is it going to be, you would think? But the moment you go to cataract eye drops, we started getting searches from people who were looking for storms at sea. The cataract of the storm, right? The eye of the storm, raindrops. If you do a broad search, those three words have to be on the page, anywhere on the page. If it's a Wikipedia page, all about historical storms at sea and how cosmetologists look at, or whatever the hello, sorry, I guess the heat's getting to me. Meteorologists go looking at the weather perceptions and precipitation, who knows what. Cataract just needs to be anywhere on the page. Eye, anywhere on the page. Different sentence, different paragraph, different place altogether on the page. Drops. Anywhere. Could be rain drops. Really? So just that one space between eye and drops lowers your quality score big time, or just makes your campaign expensive. First, you get a lot more impressions because you're fitting different submarkets. But along with those different impressions, you're getting curiosity clicks, and it's a bad idea. Okay, I'll give you another one like that while I'm right here. Air intake. Okay, maybe you're selling a component for a car, but then there's guys doing first aid. Intake air, in cases where somebody maybe got a lung puncture and you got to help them intake air, and you're doing a course on that. You might do a search on Google for intake air, and you'll see air intake, carburetor intake. What? Did somebody actually figure out how to intake air by using some sort of a maverick trick, on an air intake from a car? I need to read about that, and I'll click the ad because I don't know it costs you money. They don't know ads are ads that cost money. They just click out of sheer curiosity, and you're going to pay for a lot of the wrong guys. And you're going to pay for clicks where the guys came with the wrong idea and they left, not buying anything, right? Use phrase terminology for most of this stuff. Air intake. And if you say, wow, but that's lowering my total clicks, the answer is thank God. Lower your total clicks. If you do cataract eye drops as a phrase, now how many interpretations can there be? Not many. Are you going to lower a lot of your clicks? Yes. But is this what you were looking for? Yes, as a phrase. Okay? You're not going to see it any other way. It's not going to say drops cataract eye as a phrase in a sentence on a web page anywhere. So I'm going to say eye drops cataract on a page. So use phrases. You can even use phrases like this. You could go broad with something like this because as long as both are on the page, eye drops are eye drops. There aren't too many other things that could be, eye drops, right? Now, having said that, what could possibly be different about Sell My Home Today and Sell My House This Month? Okay, let's say a guy's got to get rid of his home. Maybe he got divorced. Maybe he inherited it. Maybe he went through foreclosure, or she. And do you think of your house, if you're trying to off it fast, are you thinking of it as a home, or are you thinking of it as a house? Well, it's less of a home than it ever was before. It's not warm to you anymore. If you got divorced, it doesn't feel like a home, it feels like a house. If you inherited it, it feels like a burden, a liability. It's a house, not a home. So what are you really looking for? You're not looking for people that are not thinking it through clearly. Sell my house today. Sell my home today? That guy wants top dollar. Sell my house today? That guy wants lowball. He needs to get rid of it. But the guy who really wants to jump at sell my house today, that's pretty rare, isn't it? What about sell my house this month? That's a guy. Okay, so if I was trying to just say, we'll buy your house today, that's going to be the ad. That's going to be the page I send them to. And it's going to be a low ball sellout today. It's going to be just enough to help you clean your shirt. But look, man, make this deal with me now. Your clock is ticking. But if you got a guy who says, sell my house this month, or sell my home this month. Most likely, if it's sell my home this month, the guy wants high dollar because home sounds warm. Sell my house this month. What about that? That guy's thinking about bids. He's got time to kill. He can get rid of it, but he doesn't need it done today now, does he? Nah, this month will do him just fine. So you know what kind of an ad we show him? Not the same ad we show this guy. Our ad for this guy is going to have different wording. We'll sell your house. We'll buy your house today. Get rid of the problem. We don't care what the problems are with your house. We'll get it off your hands today. Now that's great for us as a company because we want to get that guy out. We want to give that guy the least amount of money. Now, if he wants to sell today, then he'll take the least amount of money. But a guy who says, sell my house this month, okay, we want to stab at that guy's business. Okay, what are we going to have to do though? We're going to have to assume he's getting bids. So what's our ad for that guy? It's more like this. We are extremely competitive. Make sure to get our bid. One phone call can save you thousands. No hassle, no pressure, no obligation, no cost. Just give us a call, right? Get our bid. What's the difference in thought? Sell my house today. We're just trying to flag the guy's attention and say, we're the only ones who can do that deal with you. Call us right now. We're the only guys. Sell my house this month. We got to give respect to the fact that he sees the other ads up there on the page and he's thinking about the other ads. Who will offer me a good bid? So we gotta, if we want to reach that guy, we can't say, sell your house today, right now, give us a call, because he's not interested. He might click and then say, I don't like the way it reads, and leave. It would be the wrong page. It would be the sell your house today page. But if you're gonna do sell my house this month, have that pitch be about get our bid too. As long as you're gathering the bids, see what we can offer you. Get it? So that is literally how touchy keywords are, right? This is why ad groups have just a few keywords each. Because if you only tell Google it can show you for 5 different keywords, then of all the impressions where people are typing where Google's rules are going to throw you up on those pages, okay, that's only those 5. So they can focus on giving you more impressions, right, on those 5. And your message is thought through for those 5. But when you add 5 new ones, expect a bell curve before you get back to normal, but at a higher level. And the companies that understand that, it has to cost more before it can cost less, because you have to get impressions before you get clicks, right? The companies who understand that, their AdWords campaigns look like stair steps. Everyone who just tries to throw in a gob of keywords, their costs go like that, and they freak out and they dump the load because they don't know what they're doing. Okay? That is literally how this game goes. All right, I think that really helps. So your AdWords should never have keywords that get no clicks. Give it a while, because you need to give it like a week with some keywords. Okay, you can pause a lot of those keywords. You can pause all the keywords and then enable a few selectively at a time. That's usually how that works. Those stair step guys, they already put in like 1,000. They had someone do a broad pass to collect them, and they collected all the stuff up. And then they do a fine-tuning pass, keyword by keyword. They think, does that fit this message every which way? Can I think of a way that this wouldn't fit? Well, cataract eye drops, no, I cannot think of a way it would not fit. It's going to fit the ad 99% of the time. But cataract eye drops, oh, that could be a mess unless I make it a phrase. If I make it a phrase, I'll get a lot fewer clicks, but they'll be the right clicks. I will not be paying for the wrong people. And there are guys who do AdWords campaigns, AdWords groups, with lots of phrases in them. Okay? And then you can have modifiers. Broad modifiers. So you can have a phrase, okay, that can be also with a modifier, like, Tacoma. And so there are guys that do that, right? And so they use phrases with modifiers. It means that Seattle can come before or after, so it could be Tacoma, sell my house today, right? It doesn't have to be after. That's what the plus sign means. Either order will do just fine. But phrase cannot be broken, okay? And then there might even be guys who do condos, okay, this way in Atlanta, okay? There you go. The more you can fine tune and point at the right page, the right page, the right page, the right page. That's why you have all these pages you can choose from, okay? So you can go through your own pages and get the wording that matches. Make sure if the web page is saying sell my house today, that's the keyword, sell my house today. If the web page says buy your house today, make sure that's for the keyword buy your house today. Get that to congeal just as much as you can. If the ad's for a certain city, make that point at a page for that city, right? Sounds like a lot of work unless you know how to automate that kind of uploading or get someone else to do it. Like even on Fiverr, you can find guys who know how to do it. And understand the difference between air intake and intake air. You might do that as a phrase or not for intake air if you're selling 3D stuff. But even then, you don't want the air intake guys coming to you. So, you know, intake air may just be a phrase, right? All right, I've covered this stuff enough, 36 minutes in. I think this really helps you just think it through, right? Big, simple, standard concepts. Your ad groups, a few keywords, pause most, enable a few. Do not have lots of keywords that have no clicks, or your whole click-through rate, the average on the ad group, is really, really low. Therefore, your costs have to be high because Google never knows which of those keywords to show you for, but they're making that investment with you on every display. They want that investment to pay out. And if it's not paying out, they want to charge you more to offset. I mean, it's the only way. It's risk reward, right? If they keep having a risk putting you there when they could have put someone else there, the reward's got to be greater. Higher risk, higher reward, lower risk, lower reward, lower cost. Lower risk, lower cost. Okay? That is the bell curve effect, and that is why you see good campaigns stair-step their way up. All right, I hope that really helps you out. And yeah, we'll do more as we go. We're really learning how to run all this stuff. We're going to be doing campaigns like this for everyone. We're going to apply all the negative keywords. Like what would I do with the cataract eye drops if I want to be broad? I'm going to put in negative keywords like hurricane, storm, sea, ocean, historic, anything that I don't want to be part of searches with cataract eye drops, all three words, right? In other words, you can go broad for your own strategy as long as you also follow it up with a bunch of negative keywords to just put that into a box, right? But Google can't just tell you what works and what. Google does not know what relationships to make for you. If you have a guy selling life insurance, he may have for keywords Disneyland trip. You might be like, why? And that's because the ad says, going to Disneyland, make sure to catch up your life insurance first. Might be part of his business strategy. Now, Google's going to let that happen, and he's going to go through the bell curve. If he gets clicked a lot, because a bunch of guys searching for the Disneyland trip kind of get nervous and think, you know, I really should check that out, and he gets a 2% click on that, you know, click-through rate, then guess what? Those costs are going to go down for him. What's the rest of the stuff that affects cost? Quality. Quality of the web page, fast loading page. It's got a lot of fodder on it about the topic. It's got links to external authority sites. It's got links to other pages. Good quality website. A lot of interaction there. Google loves that stuff. They love sending people to places where they can continue to go to other places without having to hit the back button to get out of it. Okay? So the very fact that Google's bots, we submitted 836 pages or something, I think I said, it was 830 something pages, I'm pretty sure. And Google went and found 18,900 pages over a weekend. 17,000 of those pages it found on its own over the weekend, just navigating the links. You know what that means? Our site allows many opportunities for people coming into one page to explore onto other pages and go out to other sites. That's what Google wants to see. All right, now I'm in a 40-minute video. I hope you found this interesting. I hope it really just helps you think about AdWords the right way so that you're not so scared to try. Say your max CPC, say your max daily, Step into it. Don't be afraid of the bell curve. Expect it. You're looking for click-through rate. And that means you're looking for your position first. If your average position is anything lower than 3.5, no wonder you have a low click-through rate. Your ad is showing up so low on the page, you're getting impressions, but no one's seeing your ad. Okay? And if you want to lower the cost, spend more money. Get the average position higher. Pay more per click. Google will show you at a higher point. And then as people start clicking, your click-through rate improves. So Google says your quality score improves. Those two go hand in hand. You can also raise your quality score by improving the quality of your website, external links, backlinks, everything else. But that brings up your quality score, and that will lower the cost per click for you. You might still have it set to a high max, but Google will just charge you less. Okay? And go back and look through your AdWords. There is a column for looking up exactly the keywords that people typed when they landed on your page. You can look at those keywords, and if you see anything that makes you say, whoops, add it as a negative keyword. It's just as easy as adding it as a positive keyword. You just put it in a different spot. That's it. Negatives mean Google will not show you if people are searching in ways that include those negative keywords, but they will show you for anything that's got the positives, as long as there are no negatives in that. There you go. All right, I think you'll do much better at your AdWords campaigns if you were lacking that kind of information. I think it just helps you clarify. Your average position needs to go up above 3.5. I don't care what you have to spend to get it. Go ahead and grate your teeth and accept it if you can afford it, and dare, because that'll raise your click-through rate. Okay, for the same number of impressions, you'll get clicked a lot more, and that will bring your costs back down, especially on our websites because they have really great quality scores. All you need to do is get a decent click-through rate. So bid high enough. All right, we'll talk more soon. Hope you guys found this interesting. All right, enjoy the weekend.